That's your fault.
Probably. Hello, and welcome to Horror Movies and Shit. I'm your host, Jim, and with me, as always, is.
Mark, with the number one banned podcast on TikTok.
We're not banned, we just can't go live. There's a difference. There is a difference. So, what's new, Mark?
What's new? So, sharing war plans is kind of new.
That's not new.
Oh, that's kind of new.
It's not new.
Just a timestamp for right now.
Pretty much, that is the case. So, Mark, we came. I mean, it's just us today. We're just talking shit, essentially, about horror movies, right?
That's what we always do.
Pretty much. But we wanted to talk a little bit about our convention experiences, too.
So I'm going to flip the script on you, Jim.
Oh, fuck's sake.
I want to do what we've watched first.
Okay, well, let's hold on first. First, let's talk about what you and I have coming up this Saturday.
Well, that's going to play into our convention talk.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Go ahead. What have you watched, Mark?
Oh, Jesus Christ. So, Invincible. Jim, have you been watching Invincible?
I haven't seen any of the newer stuff.
Invincible is a weird show for me because it's something where I like half love it and half don't like it at all.
Yeah.
Just because there's a lot of that teenage like drama stuff in it.
Yep.
And it makes me not want to watch it sometimes. And then I put it on, I'm like, oh, this is really good. So that's so I'm slowly catching up for the season.
Right.
Also on TV, Daredevil.
Yeah, I'm not watching that.
Why aren't you watching that?
I've just never really been a fan. It's nothing to do with it, with anything specifically. I just never been a fan.
You've never been a fan of something that you've never watched?
No, I tried it when the show first came out, but I've just never been a fan of the show.
So what didn't you like about
I don't know, it just never grabbed my attention.
Thoughtful insight as ever.
Have you ever just not watched something because you tried and it just didn't grab you?
No.
Why? I mean, that doesn't make any sense to me. Like, why invest in something if you watch it and you just don't care for it?
So, were you ever invested in the character prior?
No. Hello, hamburger.
I'm hungry now. Okay, so Daredevil's very weird now. It's moved over to Disney Plus.
Is it?
It's. I think I still need to catch up on the most recent episode, but the
Yeah.
last two episodes there's been like really no Daredevil in it. It's Matt Murdock, the lawyer, and as you know, I do like my courtroom dramas, so I enjoy that aspect of it. But it's still like waiting, like, you know, and I know in the comics there's several runs where it's mostly about him as a lawyer.
Right.
So, but yeah, it's just kind of like I'm enjoying this, but I still kind of want Daredevil to be in it.
Right.
Oddly enough, in the Daredevil show.
I mean, you would think, right? Hello, Matthew. Sup?
Sup. So, so I have a few.
No, Nico. No, that would never happen. I'm gay. He's straight.
Yeah, no, I would rather jump off a very tall bridge. Jim?
Sorry, I hit the unmute button. I'm trying to watch for comments. Go ahead.
Okay, I just said I'd rather jump off a very tall bridge.
That's fair enough. I mean, I'd rather hang myself than spend more than this time with you, Mark. Just saying.
Ugh, God. Ooh. Anyway,
now, your wife, on the other hand, she's awesome. I love your wife.
Well, yeah, I mean, she's a very lucky woman.
She is.
So, I stumbled across a movie which I heard about like a long time ago. I thought that sounds kind of weird, and it's Shadow in the Cloud.
Not at all, Nico. Anyway,
No. We just talk shit. Don't worry.
yeah, we just give each other a hard time all the time. That no offense, I promise. I do
No.
actually happen to be gay, so it's not a big deal. Anyway, Mark, the movie you just watched.
Well, that's because you chose to be gay. Correct
Fuck
me?
you, Mark. Let's go.
So, Shadow in the Cloud. Have you heard of this movie?
Never.
So, this, I think, came out a few years ago. It's Chloe Grace Moretz.
Yep.
And whenever I heard about it, it's like a gremlin in an airplane in World War II.
Okay.
Which I'm like, okay, that sounds interesting.
Right.
Kind of, kind of out there. I don't think I've seen her in anything else. She really reminds me of Florence Pugh. Like, she looks like her.
Is she is Florence Pugh the person from
Midsummer?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is such a fucking strange movie. So basically, she kind of works her way on board this World War II bomber.
Okay.
And she's
hang
got.
Hang on a second. Hang on, Nico. He's just kidding. He's just kidding.
I'm just giving him shit.
Yeah, he's just giving me a hard time. He doesn't really think that way. I promise. Anyway, go ahead.
So she's kind of like, gets her way on board. And obviously it's like an all male crew.
Yeah.
On board, and she's carrying this like big bag thing. She's like, "This is super top secret. You can't open it. I have to deliver it. And this is why I'm on the plane, right? This is like super top secret war stuff."
Okay.
And the first half of the movie is basically her. Like they have the turrets with the guns, right? Yep. And there's one in the bottom. Her stuck in there, and her talking to the crew,
okay.
Via the headset. So that's like half of the movie, and it's pretty interesting, right? It's just because they're trying to figure out, well, who is she really, and things start to change as far as kind of what she said before and now what they kind of are finding out about her.
Right.
So that's pretty interesting. But there is a gremlin on the plane.
Okay.
And so she sees it, right? And it's very, very much like the Terror, 20,000, whatever. You know the Twilight Zone one?
Yeah, I do.
What the fuck's going on in this guy? Anyway, people don't get my sense of humor. Anyway,
it's because you're from Northern Ireland.
That's very bigoted.
Hey, Brutal, how are you?
Hello. Anyway, so where was okay? So she's stuck in this turret, right? Things are starting to change, but she sees a gremlin on like the side of the plane, and she's like, "Oh my god, this is like kind of crazy!" And she sees it like pulling at the engine stuff and one of the engines, and she's like, trying to like shoot it, and then it's trying to get in to her where she is because there's like a broken glass in the what do you call it? What did I just say? Where she is. Anyway, then the second half, she's in the plane and the gremlin's going crazy on this plane. And it's like a total change from the first half. And it turns into like a really, really, really schlocky B movie.
Okay.
And like I'll give you an example as far as how schlocky it is. And I thought at the end they were going to say, well, it's like a dream sequence or something from her point of view.
Right.
Because she at one point falls out of the plane, and then there's a plane beneath her that blows up, and then she like gets blown back into the plane.
That's
like it's very, very strange.
Yeah, sounds like it.
It's such a difference between the first half and the second half. That's why I'm like, is this really happening to her, or is it in her head? Because there is that sort of thing. I also watched Lurking Fear.
Never heard of that one either.
This is a Full Moon production
Okay.
with uh, a person you met recently, Jeffrey Combs.
Yes. Yes, I did.
And this is again based on an H.P. Lovecraft movie or story, and it's okay. It's in fact there is who else is in this? There's other people in this.
I would
oh my
imagine so. It's not a one-person show, is it?
God. Lurking Fear cast. Who else is in this? Oh, Ashley Lawrence is in it.
Oh, awesome.
Although in the title, or sorry, in the credits, she goes by Ashley Laura or something. It's not her actual full last name. I'm like,
Interesting.
I don't even understand why. Who else is in this that I knew? Anyway, so it's a pretty run of the mill full moon movie where it's kind of cheap.
Yeah.
And but you know, I think there is something there with certainly the actors involved, and that kind of and it actually looks pretty good the way it was shot.
Okay.
So that it's worth checking out if you like Jeffrey Combs and
I
Lovecraft.
just smeared the shit out of my glasses. I'm just going to take them off. I can't see anything anyway.
um,
Are
so-
you afraid? Hey, Mark, I have a question for you. Hi,
yes.
Jamie. Are you afraid of fake horses?
So growing up in the UK, right? Pantomime's a big thing over there, right? So they have Christmas pantomimes. That's true, Nico. And part of the pantomimes, which is like a theater experience where there's actors on stage or whatever.
Right.
They usually have people dressed up as a horse. So no, so I'm not afraid of fake horses.
Oh, apparently they're part of your childhood. So why would you?
Well, yeah, it built up my resistance stuff.
Anyway, continue.
So the next one, I watched the 1982's Blood Tide.
That doesn't sound familiar.
So here's the synopsis. An adventurer hunting for treasure in Greece accidentally frees a monster that forces local villagers to sacrifice virgins.
Huh, interesting.
So it sounds like a really kind of interesting like monster movie flick. And it's really not. The monster's in it for like 2 seconds.
Okay.
But the casting is really interesting. It has God, I'm gonna have to look this up now. It's got James Earl Jones,
Okay.
Martin Kove from the
No.
Karate Kid,
I'd have to look him up.
Cagney and Lacey.
No.
You don't know who Martin Kove is?
I probably know his face. I don't.
Yeah, he was in the original Last House on the Left as well.
Okay. Yeah, I probably know his face. Just his name is not hitting me right now.
Miguel Ferrer is in it too, and so it's got a great cast, beautifully shot on this island of Greece.
Okay.
I guess one of the writers was the director of Island of Death, which is one of the most crazy exploitation movies ever made. But this is a weird kind of like a cult movie, but it's so languid and takes so long, but it's still kind of enjoyable because of the setting and the cast.
Okay.
I'm like, okay, it's fine. Lastly, I watched Heretic.
How was that? Like, I've been putting that off because it's either going to be good or it's going to be really bad.
It's actually in the middle.
Okay.
So you know the setup, right?
I do.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So obviously Hugh Grant as the bad guy, and then with 2 Mormon missionaries who are calling in, into his house to try and convert him over to Mormonism.
Sure.
And he kind of like is creepy, and there's actually some interesting discussion around religion, and how Judaism, Christianity, and Muslims all kind of like all from the same god, and like which one makes more sense, and is it just anyway? So it's got that pretty good religious discussion back and forwards where he's kind of questioning their faith
Right.
as much as, but and this isn't probably a big spoiler because we know they're kind of trapped in this house. But like at the start, they're like creeped out by him. They're like, oh, fuck, we better go here
Right.
because he keeps on talking about his wife's who's there, and his wife's not ever coming out and seen, and they're like, we need to have a woman, and I'm like, no. Anyway, so they go to leave. He goes to get something, and they go to leave through the front door,
Right.
and it's locked. And he's like, yeah, sorry, that front door is on a timer, and it automatically locks, and we can't open it. And they kind of take this as, oh, okay, and continue to like talk to him and stuff. like, wouldn't you like? I don't know. I just think that their characters were a little weak. I know they're supposed to be kind of naive, but one of them's less naive than the other.
Right.
To say, hey, you're stuck in this house with this guy who is being really creepy.
Okay.
And you can't call out because he says, oh, he also says, oh, there's metal in all the walls and the roof and everything, so you can't, so signals are blocked on their phones. But anyway, it's still kind of enjoyable at that. And then halfway through, it changes and it gets kind of ridiculous.
That seems like a pattern recently where movies just flip halfway through, and it doesn't work for me most of the time.
And I mean, I would still recommend watching it. Again, Hugh Grant's very good in it. But I kind of rated it pretty low just because I thought they had something there at the start, and then I kind of wasted that opportunity.
Fair enough.
But it was okay. It was okay.
Okay. What else you got?
That's it.
Okay, so I have two things that I watched this week, and that's it. And then an audiobook that I'm listening to. So I went to the theater this week and I saw a movie, Mark. It's a local film. It was shot in Fort Pierce. And they're currently doing a tour around the United States. There's not a whole lot of social media presence, but they're trying, right? And we actually will have the writer, director, and star of the movie on our podcast this week, on Wednesday, actually, for our live stream event, Carl Remy. The movie's I Possessed. And it is about a group of people that are in a house, so having like a pseudo housewarming party for Volo, the main character. And one of them becomes possessed by a demon. And that's all I'm going to say about it because we're going to talk to him next week or this week. But I have to say the quality of the film, I mean, because it's an independent film, right? But the special effects were great. The filming was fantastic. The acting, you could tell some of the actors were a little less comfortable than others in front of the camera, like this was their first time or whatever. But overall, it was a really strong film. I was extremely impressed.
Yeah, and I don't want to kind of question you anymore because I'm interested to see. So one thing I did think, what I Possessed, and it's like all one word. I'm like, is this like an iPod or is it Apple related?
Right. I don't want to ruin that because we'll ask Carl that on Wednesday, but there's a story there.
Okay.
Because I asked the same question when I got a chance to talk to him after the movie.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that on Wednesday, but it's more. Anyway, I don't want to ruin it. We're gonna go on from there because it's really worth watching, and like they'll be in Del Rey this week, and then I think I send you the tour schedule because they're going to be over in Naples and somewhere else on your coast, in like 2 weeks.
No, you didn't.
Okay, well I will. But it's really worth watching, and I mean the experience was great because they screen the film with you, and then they hit the star. Carl Remy and a few of the other actors from the film will hang around and just answer questions. and everybody was super nice and so welcoming and ready to answer everything. It was a great experience. Additionally, I watched Hard Eyes last night.
Hard Eyes.
Heart.
Oh, okay, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hard Eyes.
So I heard this is like a romantic horror.
So it's sort of a romantic comedy spoof mixed with a slasher. But what I will say is it was awesome to see Jordana Brewster and Devon Sawa on screen again. They had a lot of fun making this film, and it shows.
I don't know.
Huh?
Devon's a bit of a weird name. I don't know if I like it,
Jim. I have to say that it was a lot more enjoyable than I expected it to be. I really did not expect to enjoy it at all, but it was actually a lot of fun. I wound up buying on Fandango at home. They have the digital copy for $14.99, or you can rent it for $20.
Well, I mean, that's a bit of a no-brainer.
Yeah, exactly. So I bought it, not knowing anything about it, and I turned out to really enjoy it. I liked it. It felt a little schlocky at the beginning, and then you see what it's actually going to become, and it's actually a blast.
Yeah, I'll catch up to it when it goes on streaming somewhere.
I'm sure. And then I'm reading a Norwegian horror book called Dead Meat, and it's about a zombie outbreak. It takes place in Denmark, Norway, and Sweden, and it's actually really good. You can tell in certain parts that it's an interpreted version because the English is just a little off, but overall, it's a really enjoyable story. It's 30 hours for the entire series for the audiobook, so I haven't finished it yet, but it's definitely a series that I'd put off for a while, but I'm actually really enjoying it.
Interesting. I'm glad you're broadening your horizons and not just all USA all the time, Jim.
Oh, you know what, Mark? Actually, I bought the box set of the Ghoulies, all 3 films.
They'll get you in the end, Jim.
They will. But funny story is it is a Spanish import version of the DVD box set, and I didn't know this when I purchased it from Walmart.com. So all of the menus are in Spanish, but you can play it in English.
See?
Yep. Anyway, that's it for me for this week. So
El Ghoulies.
El Ghoulies. Yeah, and it is because some of that artwork that's there, like El Ghoulies and Universidad or whatever it says for Goonies Go to College, it's funny as hell.
Did you see that clip of something? It was doing the rounds, and it was Child's Play, but in Spanish.
Yes,
they had Chucky. Like it was amazing. I almost feel like I should start watching movies in like a different language just to see.
Right. And anyway, so we wanted to talk a little bit about horror movie conventions, right? And there's a reason for that, because you and I have something coming up this Saturday. What are we doing this Saturday?
We are going to Spookala.
We are. And that is taking place over at the Tampa State Fairgrounds. My first time, your second or third time?
I think second, because I think they only moved it over here last year to begin with. So yeah, it was really good actually.
And there's going to be another guest with us too, Mark. Did I tell you?
Did you?
Our buddy Tim King is going to join us.
Oh, that's right. But I'm going on Sunday.
I'm going. No.
Yes.
No. Because I'm only on Saturday.
Huh?
I'm only going to be there Saturday.
I don't know what to tell you.
You better figure your shit out, buddy.
No, well, me and my wife and her daughter are going Sunday.
You disappoint me, Mark. I'm coming all the way across the state to hang out with you and your family, and you're not even going to be there.
It's cheaper on Sunday.
Doesn't matter. I already rented the hotel room. I can't go on Sunday.
You can book another ticket for Sunday.
No.
Anyway, so Spookala.
Anyway, so Spookala.
Who are you going to meet at Spookala?
I need to bring up the list. Hang on.
Have you seen the some of the sets that they're doing
No,
for like photo ops?
no,
They're,
I
do-
haven't. No, I didn't yet.
they have like a really cool late night with the devil set.
Oh, nice. So I
But
want to meet.
I don't do photo ops. So
I don't either usually. I want to meet Michael Cudlitz.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
BD Wong.
BD Wong
Mm-hmm.
is the other one. I would like to do David Desmalchian, but they're selling those ahead of time, and I'm not signing up for it now.
I already bought mine.
Did you?
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
No, I told you it's a really good deal.
I would love to meet Thomas Jane. I know
So-
Kiefer Sutherland is only there on Friday.
Yeah. So the David
the kids from Jurassic Park would be another two people that I'd like to meet.
So the David Dastmalchian, I think I told you, like, okay, it kind of sucks that you have to buy ahead of time,
Yeah,
but it's $60, and $60, and maybe we
and
can
that's not a bad price. It's just
and maybe we could talk about the changes that we've seen in conventions.
yeah, absolutely.
So you get your own thing signed by him.
Right.
He's also giving one like a picture already signed.
Mhm.
So you get two signed items, and then like one of his graphic novels or series of comics
Right.
with that. So, and
Yeah,
you know, it's always good to, or it's kind of extra good to
Yep.
meet horror kind of celebrities who are
Yep.
horror fans too.
Yes.
So yeah.
So, I mean, I'm excited that he's going to be there, and I don't think it's a bad value. It's just I didn't find out about it early enough to sign up. Number one, that it was going to be a pre-sale only, and number two, I don't know. I just don't. I don't like that. Like it
You
feels.
got very mad about it, Jim. Let's make that clear.
I did not get very mad about it.
Do you want me to find the text message that you sent?
No. All I said was fuck that. Anyway, but and here's the reason, right? Because when you go to a convention, it's all about the experience of meeting the celebrity, right? And if you're forced into a bucket where you essentially are on a conveyor belt, you lose it. You lose that experience. Like when I went up to Mad Monster in Atlanta, right? I got to talk to Barbara Crampton for almost 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I got to talk to Jeffrey Combs for 10 minutes. I got to talk. Well, I would have talked to Tom. What's his name? No, mustache guy.
Atkins.
Thank you. Except he couldn't hear me.
What?
Anyway, but that's the experience you go for, right? And if you have to do the pre-sale, he's got a minimum number of people he's got to meet, so it's not going to be that individualized experience.
So, but I mean, you can never guarantee how long somebody's going to talk to you.
No, you can't. You're right. I agree.
And you know, you run into the what I will call the Robert Englund experience, although I've never met him,
right?
Because he takes I don't know how long because he loves talking to his fans and he's so he loves doing that. But what it means is you might have to stand in line all day and maybe never get to see him. So there is pluses and minuses for it. And I think just to throw it back to like my first convention was I think probably like a decade ago now.
Yep.
And the changes that I've seen, and even that, what obviously conventions have been going for God knows how long, decades and decades. Hang on one second. Okay, are you coming in? Sorry, my dog was scratching.
It's okay.
So, and we could talk about like our first convention experiences and stuff, but like some of the changes, obviously the number of people going to these now. I mean, I think definitely back in the day, it was more about these people want to meet their fans.
Yeah.
And it wasn't such like a big, revenue stream, I think, And that's fair enough. I mean, there's
I am not even entertaining this conversation. Sorry, pal.
um, but and I remember it was like $20 for a lot of celebrities back then, 20, $30. And, they'd take a picture with you for free. And then, just hang out. And obviously the crowds were, a lot smaller.
Right.
But now and I think it went up and now it's kind of going back down again a little bit. But,
Yeah.
it used to be a few years ago, 80 to 100 was normal for an autograph. And then if you want to have a selfie, oh, add on another $40 or whatever. And I'm telling you that the craziest one was what's her name from Stranger Things.
Millie Bobby Brown. That was
That
awful.
$500 for an autograph and a picture. Like what? But people pay it, so
They do, and it's not. I don't know. I don't fault her for it. I just think that it was rough to be in that environment.
I
Oh, for
mean,
fuck's sake, stop it. Anyway, it was rough to be in that environment because it took us, what, 3 hours to get into the building that year?
oh yeah. Hmm.
It was insane, and she was only there for one day.
Yeah. Like I say, the crowd sizes. Sometimes it's organization, right? How somebody organizes the convention as
Right.
far as how smooth it goes and this and that. Like it always cracks me up. Sometimes they have like the little track lines on the ground because they want to do like a snaking thing rather than the line, which I
Yep.
get. But it's like sometimes there's two people in front of you and you're just standing there. Oh, can you move over to this like 2 steps over here? And there's nobody behind me. I'm like, I mean, little common sense here. I mean,
But so let's talk about it, right? The majority of our experience has been Spooky Empire, right?
Mhm,
We actually met at Spooky Empire, and
mhm.
that's where the podcast was born. You've been to Spookala. I've been to Mad Monster in Atlanta. What other conventions have you been to?
The only other one was Tampa Bay Comic Con.
Okay, and I've
So I
been
went
to
to,
MegaCon here in Orlando.
huh?
I've done MegaCon here in Orlando.
Yeah. But I mean, basically, I've been doing Spooky's really been the one
Yeah.
for 10 years, twice a year for unless it was a hurricane.
Right. And in general, Spooky is a really well organized, well thought out floor plan. And it's usually a very enjoyable experience. But the last couple of years, they've had some flow issues, in my opinion, right? Like when we went and Simon Bamford was there and Christy Swanson, like you couldn't even get up the center of the aisle if people were lined up to see these people.
I mean, I'll give them a pass, even though I do think they should have thought it out a little bit better because they were scrambling to
I agree.
at least have it. I mean, what I would say is as far as my experience, I much prefer the summer one because
Yep.
it's smaller
Yep.
and they have a pool party. And usually the hotels that they pick for the October one are these vast, vast hotels that you have to take 30 minutes to even get to where the celebrities are because
Right.
it's so big and it feels a little bit impersonal.
Yeah.
But it's definitely become like a corporate thing right now, and I think you know the conventions that have been going on, like Spooky Empire, they did it for the love of the just meeting celebrities and having that
Yeah.
interaction. But some of the newer ones, maybe they're just hopping on the bandwagon.
Oh, that reminds me. Speaking of, I forgot about Nightmare Weekend in Miami that Ryan and I went to together.
Ooh.
That's another convention we've been to, which that's the second convention in the last year that I've been to that I've never been before. So like Miami, I stayed the weekend in Miami for Nightmare Weekend. I went up to Atlanta for the weekend for Mad Monster. And I have to say that the experience in Atlanta is exactly what I think a convention experience should be. We had a great time. There were enough places around so that when we were bored with the convention, we could go do something else, or when we were just wanted a break from the crowds. And it was absolutely awesome. The flow was done well. It was near perfection in my opinion.
So I forgot to bring up Tampa Bay Screams that I went to.
Okay.
Which was just down the road from me. That was like an outside area that connected to a Harley Davidson like restaurant bar.
Yep.
It was such a weird experience. That was just crazy. It was so small. It was like good for them.
That's what GalaxyCon is, the organization that puts on Nightmare Weekend in Miami. And I just saw them at Mad Monster where I was asking them if they were going to do it this year. And they're like, well, we think so, but they haven't released a date yet. But like, it was not very busy when we went last year. However, the layout and the way that the rooms were and the panel room being right off to the side, the setup was great. It was absolutely awesome.
So, Jim, what was your first convention and who was the first celebrity that you ever met?
Well, my first convention was Spooky Empire. I don't remember the year, but it's got to be going back 10 years at least. And maybe you'll remember the year because it was the year that they brought all of the people from the original Alien.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yep, I met Tom Skerritt and Nancy
Veronica
Cartwright. Yeah.
My first celebrity meeting was Veronica Cartwright.
Oh, she was so nice.
She was amazing, and she was so sweet to talk to.
You know what the funny thing is? Some celebrities get like labeled as not a very nice person to meet at a convention. I don't know where these come from. Tom Savini is a big one, which people complain about.
Yeah.
I heard Tom Skerritt was like that, and whenever I met him, he was so nice. So
I hadn't heard that about him, but every time he was the only person at that convention I didn't get a chance to meet that I really wanted to, because every time I went by his table, he was gone.
Oh yeah. Oh.
But so what about you? What was your first convention? Who's your first celebrity you met?
So again, it was Spooky Empire, like probably a decade ago. Actually, the first person I met was Lawrence Harvey. Jim, you'll know him well.
The name is not ringing a bell.
From Human Centipede 2.
Never seen it.
And he was dressed up like he was dressed up in the movie, so that was kind of fun.
Okay.
But I remember, it's hard to, whenever you don't really know what sometimes to say, and I'm socially awkward anyway. So, but he was super nice. And, yeah. So,
what was your most awkward celebrity experience?
Oh, John Carpenter, by far.
And why?
Because I was tongue tied. I like your movies. Because I was that's the only time I've really been starstruck. Because obviously he's my favorite director. He's done so many legendary things, and this goes back again, talking about lines and stuff. There was no line for John Carpenter back then. And maybe it was Stranger Things or Twilight or was some other oh no, it was what was that show about witches or something?
Salem?
No. This is back in the day. It was like a TV Charmed, maybe.
Charmed is about
it was something like that, and those lines were huge.
Yeah.
And John Carpenter, living legend. There was nobody. I just walked up to his table. He was just sitting there. I'm like, oh, cool.
That's how we met Sean Cunningham. And I'm kicking myself because I didn't get his autograph.
Oh, I met him.
Yeah, we saw him at Nightmare Weekend, and my buddy Ryan got an autograph, and we talked to him for 10 minutes. He was great.
So what have been your talking about awkward interactions? What have been your kind of least favorite, or have you had any bad interactions with celebrities?
I wouldn't say bad, but the least comfortable I've been made was, and I don't want to say the guy's name, but it was a cast member from Nightmare on Elm Street, the original.
Mm-hmm.
And I went up to get an autograph because I had gotten everybody else that was there, and he was very standoffish and seemed a lot more interested in the women standing behind me, and then seemed offended when I asked for change.
That's weird.
Yeah. So that's the only time I've ever been uncomfortable or felt a little put off by a celebrity interaction. What about you?
So what I feel kind of bad talking about, and again, none of them being like I'm mad, but there's been a couple that I just felt are being a little dismissive, like, not really into anything, like hello or whatever, just kind of like me. And actually, both are on the same poster, and that is Greg Nicotero.
Okay.
I met him, and so this is a bad part of it, right? Because and again, like, I'm not going to hold, like, I've never had a bad experience, but
yeah,
he was much more interested. You're saying there was a girl behind you.
Yeah.
There was a kid behind me, and obviously he'd met him before, and the kid was like in a wheelchair or something.
Yeah.
So he was much more like, I think, moving me along.
Yeah.
Hang on, I have to get my dog out of here because I don't know what she's doing. She's going to knock everything over. Okay, stop. So he was kind of like trying to move me along quickly so he could talk to the kids. So I can't really say. And the other one was the guy that plays Bub, the zombie in Day of the Dead.
Oh yeah.
Robert Sherman, maybe. And yeah, he was kind of like not interested. And like, at the end of the day, it's fine, whatever. But nobody's ever been rude.
Yeah, no, I've never had anybody be rude, and that's pretty awesome, right? I mean, some people just aren't into it and they do it because they feel like it's an obligation. But
which I don't understand, because number one, like, I would like, if I was famous, and I'd like to meet some fans and say, hey, awesome, thanks for supporting me.
Yeah.
But also, they're getting money for it.
They are.
Now, I guess in some circumstances, people might need the money because that's maybe they don't have any acting gigs anymore, and so they feel that they have to do it.
Right.
But at the same time, I mean,
so I did have one experience, and I have to be honest with this one, is it was not a bad experience, right? But I met Bruce Campbell, and this was not at a convention. This was at a book signing when his book Hail for the Chin came out.
Mm-hmm.
And I brought about 7 people with me from work.
Yep.
And he came out, he did this whole shtick because Ash vs. Evil Dead was on the verge of being canceled at that time. And so it was fun to watch him talk. He had a great interaction with the audience. But when we got into line to do the signing, he was much more interested in the woman behind me, who was my friend from work, than he was in trying to actually talk to me. Although, to be fair, I couldn't really speak when I stood in front of him. I was just sort of, and then he was much more interested in the busty woman after me.
Whenever I met him, it was one of those super long lines.
Yep.
And he didn't really interact very much, but I think he was just trying to either get as much money as he can, or make sure that he sees as many people as he could.
Yeah.
So he was just very much like, sign, okay, thank you. Okay, very cool.
Yeah, and that was sort of the same experience, but I know it's because he was on the timeline, right? He only has a certain amount of time to be there. But no shade to him, because he was really great with most of the people he interacted with. I was just really, really awkward.
Well, yeah.
That's
so. How about your best?
My what?
Your best interactions.
That's easy. My best, 100%. I had two really great interactions, right? And one was Barbara Crampton most recently at Mad Monster. because I walked up, right, and my buddy Ryan was not Ryan, I'm sorry, David, Ryan's friend, Ryan's podcast co-host, was talking to her.
Mm-hmm.
And then he got his signature and left with his son. And I was up and I got a picture of Beyond the Gates to get signed. And I said, and I brought up you, right? I said, it's funny because,
as you do.
yeah, I said, my friend Mark is always giving me shit because I've never seen Reanimator. And she's like, what? And she's like, so then what have you seen me in? I said, Beyond the Gates is my favorite. I said, and then Suitable Flesh. And she's like, oh, okay. And I said, so we started chit-chatting a little bit, but like she spent 10 minutes just chatting with me, and she kept going, I swear to God, I know you from somewhere.
Right.
And, you know, so we just chatted about that. And that was a great experience because she wasn't trying to rush me through. And we were just kind of chatting like normal human beings. So that was great. But the top experience ever was Mark walking away.
No, sorry, I flipped it all again.
It's okay. So I bought VIP tickets to Spooky one year, and almost the entire cast from Nightmare on Elm Street 3 was there.
Mm-hmm.
So we walk in on the Friday after picking up our badges, and immediately Jennifer Rubin walks up to us and just starts chatting with us, asking us how we like the conventions, how often do we been coming, just making general small talk, never once asking us to go back to her table, just standing there in the middle of the room chatting with us. And finally, I'm like, can we go back to your table so I can get an autograph? And she's like, sure. So we go back there, and then we're just chatting, and we're talking about, we didn't even talk about Nightmare on Elm Street 3. I said, I love Nightmare on Elm Street 3. It's one of my favorites, but I absolutely adore Bad Dreams. And she's like, yeah, they lit me really well in that film, and I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
I said, yeah, I know people say it's a Nightmare on Elm Street ripoff, but you did such a great job as the ingenue in that film and playing the tortured soul that it was just amazing. So we got to chat with her for, 30 minutes, 40 minutes before we started making our circuit. And not once did she even ask for the money. I had to force her to take it. So she was just the most welcoming, genuine, happy to just be interacting with people person I've probably ever met.
It's funny because I met the guy that plays Will. In part 3, and he was super nice. And I think he wanted to have a couple of drinks with me for whatever reason, because he's like, "Oh, do you have a VIP thing? Because there's there's the bar and stuff later that I'm going to." I'm like, "No, I'm cheap." But he was nice, yeah.
Yeah, they were pretty amazing. And then Kathy Najimy was another great experience.
Mm-hmm.
Because we walked up and we again bought the 3-day pass to go to Spooky Empire, and we walked up, and Ray, my partner at the time, was completely dumbstruck. All he could say was, "Hey, Ryan." Ryan's here, by the way. He was completely dumbstruck. All he could say was, "You're so pretty," over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to chatting with her, and she was just so genuine and welcoming. And then she's like, "Hey, why don't you come see my panel a bit later?" So we went and saw her panel. We got to chat. She waved to us. And like every day for the next 2 days while we were there, she was waving and chatting. So that was, again, another great experience. Not to throw this back, but we talked about awkward experiences.
Mm-hmm.
Did I tell you about my experience with Dee Wallace at Mad Monster?
Yes.
The entire experience?
Well, I don't know if you left stuff out, but go ahead.
So I get there to check into my hotel, right? And this was the day the convention opened. And I see her in the elevator lobby, and she just doesn't look comfortable. So I let her take her elevator up by herself, right? Because I don't want to make anybody uncomfortable. And she already looked a little off-put, right? So I take the next elevator up, and she's getting off on the 6th floor, the same floor that I am, right? So I get off, and she just kind of she cranes her neck because she sees me. And I don't know if she thought I was trying to follow her or what, but I felt like she almost wanted to run down the hallway.
I don't blame her.
I don't either. I would run from me too. But then we met her at the convention, and she was so sweet and so kind to just sit and chat with us. And Ryan will agree with me. She was just the greatest to sit and talk to. Even because the next day she saw me and I was wearing my Let's Watch Horror Movies and Do Gay Stuff shirt, and she's just waving at me and laughing.
Yeah, she was very nice when I met her.
Well, the first time I met her was with you at Spooky.
Probably.
Colby! No, Colby, I have not seen that movie yet. Hey, Mark, have you seen My Dixie Wrecked yet?
What? What is it?
Colby asked if we've seen the movie My Dixie Wrecked.
No.
Nope. See, it not followed us, Colby, at all. Sorry. Anyway, what about you, Mark? What was your most enjoyable experience?
So I have to say it's weird because, like I say, Richard Herman, and Greg Nicotero, both, like I say, a little kind of, and they both signed my Day of the Dead poster.
Yeah.
But I had met 3 of the original cast prior, and like they were honestly the nicest people I've ever met at a convention. They were so like interested. They are. I'm like, hey, let's all get everyone. Come on, let's go take a picture with him and all this sort of stuff. And they were all like round and hugging. And Gary Clark, who's passed away, he was kind of like the ringleader of being so nice.
Right.
Also, oddly enough, Ruggero Deodato and the cast of Cannibal Holocaust. They were so interesting. I was talking to Carl York for a while, just talking about, hey, like his experience making that movie.
Right.
And he was just like, yeah, I was so mad about some of this stuff. And he was just kind of did some of like the background of it.
Yeah.
But Ruggero Deodato, the director, he was so funny because he didn't speak English.
Right.
So he had his granddaughter there translating.
Right.
But I'd ask something, and he was just like an old like grandpa, like super sweet and like laughing, and it was just awesome.
Right.
I mean, I've met so many the cast, or sorry, the directors from Killer Clowns.
Yep.
They were so awesome. Spoke to them for like 30 minutes.
What else was great was Peter Cowper. When we met him at Mad Monster, because he just sat there and chatted with us. Like, I had to force him to take the money after he signed the poster.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard for me to even kind of go through it. Like, and this is my first world problem. I'm running out of space to put like all these signed posters and stuff up.
Yeah.
So it's almost putting me off going to conventions at some point because
just buy a flip book.
No. If I paid for it, I want to display it. So I mean, again, I've met, I think, like 100, almost 100, or might be more than 100 people at this point. So
we actually had, when I worked on the casino ship, we had Vernon Wells and who was the other guy? I can't think of it at the moment, but we had Vernon Wells and another gentleman on to do an autograph signing. And at first I was not really comfortable with Vernon Wells, but the more I came around, because I was just doing IT stuff, but I was helping the director of marketing, making sure they had what they needed and stuff. So as I continued to check on them and bring them whatever they needed, give them whatever they needed, they were like, oh, he sort of warmed up a little bit, and we started chatting. What a nice guy. Right. Once I got to know him a little bit, he was super great.
You know what's funny? I think about it sometimes. Like growing up in Northern Ireland in the 80s, watching all these movies, like I would never have thought I would get to meet anyone.
Right.
From these movies, which I love, and luckily enough, I've met so many of them. And again, never had a bad experience. So at conventions, Jim, what else do you do apart from meeting celebrities?
I buy merch a lot.
See, I don't.
I love unique stuff. So hold on, I'll be right back.
So will I.
Well, I just went to go grab something to show you, Mark.
I'll be back in a minute. You just talk to yourself.
Well, so I buy a lot of merch and I buy a lot of collectibles, and I like unique collectibles that you can't get from most other places. So, like this year when I went to Mad Monster in Atlanta, I bought this little guy. For those of you that don't know, this is the creature from the Gate movies, and it's one of my favorite things that I've ever bought. I absolutely adore it. I have a replica of the baby from It's Alive, the Sumerian rat monkey thing from Dead Alive. So it's all the unique stuff like that that gets me into the buying mood, because I kid you not, I bought those 3 pieces from the same guy and just kept slapping my card down. I'm like, just keep taking my money. Please just take my money. What else did I get that was cool up there? I think that was it from that convention. But lately I've been buying, like I bought a few Ghoulie statues lately. I bought a whole bunch of stuff that you don't normally see anywhere, because nobody sells Ghoulies merch. Nobody sells merch from the Gate. Oh, I'll let you down there. Put you back in a minute. Brutal, are you still there? Daria, hey Daria. How are you? I'm waiting for Mark to come back. Why does it sound like somebody's brushing their teeth in your room, Mark? Okay, I'm sick of not being able to see. I'm going to put on my smudgy glasses. Love you too, Daria.
Oh, really, Jim? That's very interesting.
Well, your name's not Daria, so I wasn't referencing you.
No, I didn't hear what you were saying.
I was telling my friend Daria that I love her. I've known her. I've probably known her longer than almost anybody else alive, other than my sister.
Well, your mother, maybe?
I'm talking about not family related. So this is what I was showing to Mark, is the little guy from the Gate that I got.
Mm-hmm.
And then stuff like this that you don't find everywhere is the stuff that I like. And this is what I like to buy. I got him. I got the baby from It's Alive, and I got the rat thing from Dead Alive.
Yeah, I tend to not buy too much stuff. I like looking at the stuff.
Oh, you know what? Let me show you what else I got. I forgot about this guy.
Okay.
And the stand, I don't know if you can see this, is signed by Dee Wallace.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's signed on the bottom by the artist. She was selling these at her table. And I wasn't going to get another autograph from her, but I saw this and I had to.
So
again, it's not something you're going to find everywhere. And how often are you going to get it signed by one of the stars of the film?
So just kind of going back a little bit about how conventions have changed.
Yep.
Now, like I'm in a couple of like horror movie like autograph groups and stuff, and people do consignments for other people.
Yeah.
And stuff. It's such a big business.
Yeah.
It's such a big business now. I'll send me what you want to get signed. I'll get it signed for you. I'll add $20 on top or whatever, and
yeah, of course,
you can have it. But that was never, again, we talked about. It's really to me, an autograph is more of a memento of meeting somebody.
Yeah, I agree.
Than just to get an autograph by itself.
That's why I always get it personalized, because I'm not going to resell this stuff.
And that's what's changed as well. I remember, the first conventions I went to, they always asked, okay, what's your name? And da-da-da.
Yep.
And now it's changed to, do you want me to put your name on it or not? Because they know some people are selling these on.
Yeah, of course.
So that's another aspect I think has changed.
hello to everybody that's just joined. If you are not aware, we're talking about horror movie conventions and some of our favorite and least favorite experiences and what draws us to horror movie conventions and stuff like that. So feel free to jump in if you want in the chat. We will respond to most civilized conversation.
Do you know one thing? One thing I need to get better at is going to like they do the Q&As and stuff.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, I either forget they're going on.
Okay.
Or like I'm too busy doing other stuff there. But because there's always, especially Spooky Empire or whatever, they have all these like workshops and this and that, and
right.
Like, but I never take advantage of any of those.
Well, Spooky has gone away from doing the workshops and stuff because that's what initially drew us to Spooky was those workshops, and they don't do them so much anymore.
I still think they have like.
So originally, when we started going to Spooky Empire, they would do prop making and sculpting, and they don't do that at the summer shows anymore like they used to. And that's okay. Like, I get it. They just can't because of how much they've grown and the way that the temperature has changed and what people are actually wanting from a convention. Because at the end of the day, it's got to be profitable. Otherwise, there's no point in continuing. They still provide a great service and their conventions are very enjoyable. So don't get me wrong. It's just that their format has changed, much like anything, right? It evolves. But I have started getting better about going to the Q&As with Mad Monster and Nightmare Weekend. So I guess maybe it's a Ryan thing because he's the one that got me starting to go to those. So like we got to sit with Tom Skerritt, or not Tom. God damn it. Why do I keep saying that? Tom Atkins and Adrienne Barbeau talking about the fog. And then we got to, who else did we watch? We went to some of the charity auctions that they had with like Scares That Care. At Mad Monster. That was a lot of fun because it was really entertaining. So I've gotten more into doing that when originally I never did.
Even like they do, like they do their movie festival part, I went to one movie once.
Right.
But again, I should really be taking advantage of that. But for whatever reason, I don't.
Hey, Mark, you want to know a secret?
Maybe.
I'm going to make a film debut. My voice will be used in a film.
Yes, you told me that.
Yeah, but it's the first time I'm telling you on the podcast, though.
Yeah, well,
I'm not going to give away any details, but my voice will be used in an upcoming film by somebody.
Well, I know how I'm going to rate that movie in IMDb.
You don't have to rate it. You could just rate my profile, right? Other than the guest list, what really draws you into a convention?
So I was just about to bring up, it's the other attendees, right? Like the whole cosplay thing is amazing, and everyone is like, you're stuck there with maybe hundreds, maybe thousands of people, and everyone's so nice. Everyone. I've never had one bad experience, whether it's at a pool party or waiting in line or trying to get past somebody or whatever. It's pretty incredible.
Really. But let's be honest, right? Because the body odor can sometimes get overwhelming.
Well, it's Florida in general.
I know, fair enough, but a little more deodorant would be helpful.
Honestly, I've never really had that experience either.
Honestly, the only time I remember it happening was at MegaCon. Believe it or not, I've never had that experience at a horror convention.
But like, just even like waiting in line to see a celebrity.
Yeah.
People just like, you talk to people that are standing in front behind, and they've got cool stuff, and they're like, "Oh, love your T-shirt," and it's just a real family sort of thing, which I kind of feel is a lot more specific for horror.
Sure.
Than maybe just like a Comic-Con or whatever.
Yeah, I didn't have the same welcoming experience at Comic-Con. I mean, the celebrities. Actually, I didn't meet any celebrities, but I did literally walk into a few, and they were super nice about it. Like
Yeah.
I accidentally bumped into Ethan Peck, which was not an unpleasant experience, but probably caught him off guard. But it was at I don't know, at the horror movie conventions, it's more like a family because everybody enjoys the same thing, the same genre, and we all know how sometimes you can be ostracized for some of the stuff you watch, right? So it's more of an inclusive experience, in my opinion. And yes, Daria, I'm a weirdo. I know.
But apart from that, again, like pool parties are great. Love the pool parties, music, all that sort of stuff. I love the heat, so I like being outside when they're doing all that. And again, God bless the cosplayers that are walking around in summer Florida heat,
right?
In full costume. Like,
speaking of which, Mark, I have a friend that's from work that is going to be going to Spookalla, and she was telling me about some of the cosplay she's going to do. I can't wait to see her. It's going to be awesome.
Yep, and that's a big thing now too, right? I mean, that's went from like a just kind of a fun thing to now people have like huge followings because of the cosplays they do and stuff. So.
I will say I went in costume to one Spooky Empire.
Oh yeah, I was there too.
You were, but we never saw each other. Like I got tattooed and everything, and we never ran into each other. But it's okay.
That was my brother-in-law's fault.
That's okay, Shane. Jerk. Anyway, but it was kind of cool because people were nervous, but then they're like, "Oh, can I please get a picture? This is freaking awesome." And that's a fun experience for everybody involved, right? It was fun for me. It was fun for them. So I enjoyed it. I had a good time.
Mm-hmm.
So what is it that got you started in how did you decide to go to your first convention? What was the deciding factor for you?
It was my wife. She's like, why don't you go to this because you're a big horror nerd?
That's fair.
And for whatever reason, I've never even thought about it. And then it's her fault that all this money was spent.
It's all your fault.
Yeah, but again, I'm kind of socially awkward, so I think prior I need a little push.
Yeah.
Just to get into kind of the crowds and stuff. But no turning back.
Yeah, that's fair.
Now whenever I'm running out of space.
The first time I heard about Spooky Empire, right? It was the Heather Langenkamp had been there, and I found out about it 2 days after the event ended. And I started going the following year, just waiting for her to come back. It took 5 years, but she did.
Very cool.
Is that your fan that is making that noise? It sounds like somebody's brushing their teeth in the background.
No, I've got some people brushing their teeth in the background. Yes, the fan. I didn't know if this would pick it up or not.
That's fine. Normally it doesn't. It's just that's why.
So how much are you looking forward to Spookalla as far as your first time going?
I'm excited. I'm excited because it's different, right? And as you know, I went through a breakup this year, and I've made a decision to force myself to travel more. Hence the Mad Monster in Atlanta. I'm going to Williamsburg for a horror book convention called Killer Pride, put on by Scares That Care. And now I'm doing Tampa. I was going to try and go to Days of the Dead in Indianapolis, but because it happens around my birthday, but I think that's just too much this year. So because I really want to go to Williamsburg, but that's what is getting me excited is the travel right now.
So I might have asked you this. How far away is your hotel to Spookalla?
0.4 miles.
Half a mile?
Less, just under half a mile.
Yeah, because we stayed there. We got a hotel because we wanted to see Snoop Dogg a couple of years ago.
Okay.
And, so yeah,
bold choice for you, but
I like Snoop Dogg. But yeah, it's weird because again, I work literally 5 minutes away from the fairgrounds.
Yeah. So
it's weird whenever I go there. It's like going to work.
I mean, I I go there every year for Shark Con anyway, which is a shark conservancy convention essentially. And I've been taking my niece now and her son now for 8 years, 9 years. And we have a blast. So I'm excited. The venue I already know I like. So I'm excited to see what they do with it for this one.
Yeah. Again, whenever we went last year, it was very cool. It wasn't that crowded.
Right.
And we got to see everyone that we wanted to see. And it just didn't have the whole, like I said, with Spooky Empire, they have all the Q&As and this and that, all this other stuff going on. They didn't have that.
Right.
But again, I never utilized those, so it wasn't a big miss for me.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it because it's new, right? It's a new take. So I'm excited about that aspect of it. It's just a matter of the fact that I'm a little pissed that the guy that I was going to go hang out with is only going the day I'm coming back home. And I just found out about this.
Who?
You're going on Sunday. I'm going home on Sunday.
Oh God.
No, but our buddy Tim King is going to be there. His wife Rihanna's coming, so it'll still be a fun time. But it'll be a shame that I miss you, especially being over on your coast.
Yeah, we made this decision a while ago, just because again we live half an hour away,
right?
And it was like less crowded on a Sunday, cheaper tickets, or this what's going on a Sunday.
I mean, that's fair. I might look into buying an extra ticket on a Sunday, depending on how the cash flow ends for the week. But I'm not planning on it because I'm checking in on Saturday and checking out on Sunday. So,
right.
We'll see. And I generally do everything I want in one circuit. So, a multi-day ticket for me is not worth it unless I'm traveling.
I would like some of the perks that some of the conventions do for like VIP or whatever.
Right.
But one day is plenty for me at a convention.
Generally, that's true for me as well.
And again, maybe because I don't utilize all the other
and that's going on. So, Mark, let me ask you this: who is the one celebrity you haven't met yet that you want to meet at a convention?
Okay, so I know we kind of talked about this. For Spooky, we have the Reanimator cast. I'd love to meet Don Coscaroli. Although I do have his signature because I bought his book True Indie a while ago and he was signing them all. Tom Atkins, fucker. So I mean, I'm trying to think who else. I'm sure there's a bunch of other people. Frank Henenlotter, I'd love to meet.
Yep.
Christopher Lee. Although I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, probably not. No.
Yeah. How about you?
So I really want to meet the cast of Hellraiser, and we were lucky enough to interview Simon Bamford previously. So that's one person off my checklist, but I still want his autograph.
That was another one of the best experiences I've had. With meeting him because he's just a funny guy, and very.
He's
very
such a nice and genuine person.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's amazing. I was absolutely awestruck that he agreed to come on the podcast after I just messaged him.
Yeah, so I met the cast of Hellraiser. I'm just missing a couple of autographs.
I would love the three for me that stand out is I would love to get Julia. I would love to get Ashley Lawrence and Doug Bradley.
Mm-hmm.
But that's because I, unlike you, liked Hellraiser Hellseeker, and you did not.
Julia's not in that one.
No, but Kirsty is. Kirsty comes back, and I thought it was a fun way to bring her character back and show her evolution through the.
That's your favorite of the series, Jim? Is that
right? No, hell no. The first two were my favorite, but that one was a fun entry.
Nah, I just didn't like it.
I know you didn't. But nobody cares about your opinion, Mark.
Well,
anyway,
it's like taking Nancy, and then she starts, giving Freddy people to kill. Like it doesn't make any sense for that.
It does make sense though, given that she knows a way to deal with people that do her wrong. Especially if you follow her character arc in the comics. It absolutely makes sense.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
In
She
the
becomes
comics?
the Hell Priest.
So what point in the comics does she start getting people to be ripped apart just because?
No, I'm not. She becomes the freaking Hell Priest, Mark.
No, I understand because I've read them, Jim. Have you?
Yes. Well, I mean,
Okay,
not all.
so what does she do as a Hell Priest?
I have no idea, to be honest.
Yeah, you have no idea.
But it makes sense with her evolution. I mean, it
No,
makes
no, no,
sense.
no, 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 no. She does not turn into. She uses her powers not the same way Pinhead does.
Oh, I don't disagree with you.
Right, but that's
But
what.
that
So
would
what
make an
point?
interesting movie.
So what point are you trying to make?
I'm trying to say in the movie, knowing that she is going to eventually become the Hell Priest, it would make sense that her character is moving in the direction.
No, because she does. She does not change her character
I'm not, Mark.
when she becomes the Hell Priestess.
Mark, I'm not putting this as in true canon. I'm saying if you know that, like, just for me, for instance, right? If you know at some point in the comics, Kirsty Cotton becomes the Hell Priestess, right? Then her behavior in Hellseeker becomes understandable because wait, shut up and listen to me. Without knowing the entire character arc, someone like me, it would make sense that she would start becoming judge, jury, and executioner because that's what the Cenobites become in the evolution of the films.
I think, Jim, your main issue here is that you've never read the comics. So you don't actually know where a character is in the comics. You just assume that because she's a Hell Priestess that she's going to be evil, and she's not.
Incorrect. But anyway.
So you've read the comics.
No. I'm saying you're making incorrect assumptions about what I think her character is.
So her character's still good.
I'm not debating that.
But you're saying that that's her natural progression.
That is not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is somebody like me who does not understand the canon and only knows the point that Kirsty Cotton becomes a Hell Priestess would then think that her character progression in Hellseeker makes sense if they know that that's the way she's going to go.
Right, but
that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying anything about the storyline.
Your conclusion is
right. I'm jumping 100%, going from here to here with no factual evidence in here.
Thank you. It shouldn't have taken that long.
It should not have, and I know. But anyway.
What were we talking about?
I have no idea how we got on this tangent. I have no idea. So, Mark, what are you excited about? Any movies that are coming out that you're excited about?
Yeah, there's some movies which I still have to see. Like Cuckoo, I was interested in.
Yeah.
There was a couple others that came out, maybe over the past 4 or 5 months that I never got a chance to see. So I'm just waiting for them to drop in streaming. Upcoming, what was it? There was something that I saw, and I'm like, that sounds interesting, but I don't remember what it was now. Did you watch the trailer for the new Final Destination?
I did.
What do you think about that?
I mean, they're never going to be on the top blowing up clear rivers. That was the penultimate moment in that franchise for me, was killing off that character.
Just because of her name. Anyway, I thought it looked pretty fun.
Yeah, I mean, I've always enjoyed it. I like that they give a personification to death. I like that, right? Because it's a force that is actually thinking and planning. But I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of it because I don't know. I don't know why. I have fun watching them, but I'm not going to seek them out.
I mean, I think they're all there's definitely better ones and worse ones. But as far as an overall franchise, I think they're all watchable at least, and they're pretty fun.
I don't disagree.
And really, because all it is they're all kind of the same movie, really.
Yeah.
It's just people start dying.
Yeah.
When they should have died prior, and then people are trying to figure out what's going on and how to stop it, and nobody ever can. And they kind of just recycle that every movie.
Death is inevitable. We all know that. It's going to win in the end.
Is it?
It is. Unless you capture the Asphinx or whatever the hell the name of that movie was. Asphinx? What was the name of that movie?
Asphinx.
Thank you. But if you do that, then death is not inevitable.
Well, let's say, speaking on a quantum level, maybe we don't die. Or again, maybe, Jim, we're all in the simulation, so we're not even alive to die anyway.
Mark, I am not drunk enough to talk theoretics with you. Anyway, I am excited about two things. I am excited about the new I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Oh, God.
I don't care what anybody thinks about those movies. To me, they are fun slasher flicks, and I have always enjoyed them. And then I'm also excited because I got some news today, Mark. Our buddy Tim King is up in Williamsburg today at AuthorCon. Well, it may not be anymore, but he was. And he got to meet Adam Caesar.
Oh,
the author of the Clown in a Cornfield series. He knows who I am, Mark.
Has he seen the list you're on?
It's TikTok, actually. He knows who I am. I'm so I was absolutely taken aback when my buddy, our friend Tim, was saying to him, "Hey, we know." My friend Jim bought me the book because I refused to read it, and he kept saying, "You have to read it. You have to read it." So he gifted it to me on Audible, and he's like, "Oh, I know him." It blew my mind.
Jim in the Cornfield.
That's right. But I'm excited for that film also. I'm a little nervous about the amount of comedy that the trailer throws into the book because the book is not funny. It's very dark and very brutal. So I'm a little nervous about that, but I hope it's done really well because then it could be a lot of fun.
So the director did some other movie, right? And I really liked it. I don't remember what it is.
I don't even remember who the director is. Do you?
Because I heard Clown in the Cornfield, and I thought to myself, that's like some sort of asylum B-movie trash. And then I'm like, oh, the director is this guy. I'm like,
Eli Craig.
And he did what?
Tucker and Dale.
Yes, but I think there was actually even something else.
Zombieland, The Rage Carry 2, The Hills Have Eyes, Space Cowboys, The Tao of Pong, Deal of a Lifetime, Art.
Maybe it was just Tucker and Dale.
Tucker and Dale is a great film. I'm just nervous because that's a horror comedy, and this book was not a horror comedy. So we'll see. I'm excited to watch it, and I'm still angling to. Yes. Oh, Karen's here. Karen asked if there was a release date for the movie. Yes, it's this summer, but let me find out.
It's already got reviews on IMDb, so that
May 9th, Karen, the movie comes out. So I'm excited about it. I'm absolutely over the moon. So anyway, Mark, that is about it for me. What else do you have?
That's it for me. That's a wrap.
This was fun. I'm super excited that we did this. It's been a while since it's just, well, not really that long, but it's very rarely just you and me lately just talking shit. So this was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Karen, I will rectify that situation shortly. Don't you worry. Karen says she hasn't gotten the book Clown in a Cornfield yet. Oh, Mark, do you remember our buddy David R. Slayton?
Yes.
He's got a 4th book in the Adam Binder series coming out.
Ah.
I'm so excited.
Our first ever celebrity guest, I believe.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And still one of the nicest guys I've ever chatted with.
And really, I mean, he's built upon his appearance on our show a couple of times to really amass all these followers. So.
Oh, right. It's all the result of us. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Good for him.
Anyway, Mark, this has been fun. Thank you so much. Karen, Thanks for hanging out. And if you're still watching, thank you for hanging out with us. This has been a blast, and we will talk